Yet another story talking about Rasmus HOJLUND leaving Manchester United this summer, but this one in detail and a very cheap price United would take for him as well. Details on that. Could it be a case that Juventus are in for Rasmus and not Sancho? As we get news again that the Sancho deal is on hold. Was it ever on? Is it off? We'll talk about that. If Rasmus HOJLUND leaves, obviously that leads to the conversation on who replaces him as the number 9, and a new face has popped up onto the speculation columns in Evanilson from Bournemouth. Would you take him? This is Rev United TV. This is your midday update on everything going on with Manchester United. Talk to me in the comments section, everybody. We'll get to Evanilson in a moment, but Rasmus HOJLUND and that report on what is coming out. This isn't the first time we have heard about Rasmus HOJLUND leaving Manchester United, and it is a real story because of the speculation coming from, can we even call reports from the Athletic speculation? It is probably the most reliable outlet in the transfer market with news coming out about potential transfers. So first of all, we had the Laurie Whitwell one saying that Manchester United would actually take a cut on what they want for Rasmus HOJLUND just to bring money in to get a new striker. It's quite clear that Ruben Amorim, with all of this speculation, doesn't want him at the football club. I'm putting that together with all of the reports. I'm not saying I've heard anything. I'm not saying that Rasmus HOJLUND has definitely been told he wants that he's not wanted at Manchester United. I just think with all of these reports, it's no smoke without fire, is there, really? But Rasmus HOJLUND, we paid 64 million plus 8 million in add-ons. Now, it's reported that Rasmus has not met them add-ons, related add-ons, so the price would be 64 million for Manchester United. They're willing to take, apparently according to Graham Bailey, half of that, as little as half, to get him out of the door to make room for another player coming in. That would be 32 million quid. That goes in line with what Laurie Whitwell of the Athletic said though. So when putting it together, saying Romano saying that watch this space with Rasmus HOJLUND, Ornstein saying he could leave Manchester United this summer, Laurie Whitwell saying some people at United are actually open to selling him for half the price of what they bought him for, which would be around 30 million, going into what Graham Bailey said, around 32 million, half the price of what we paid for him. And that, obviously, with all the reports of the Italian clubs coming in for him as well, could this actually mean that there is serious actual talk going on right now, and this is a genuine deal that could happen and is a real story with Rasmus HOJLUND? I can't see any other way. Like the Sancho story cooling off, did it ever start, like we said, and David Ornstein cooling that off. DiMarzio has come out today as well this lunchtime and said that the deal is now on hold. And now that they've secured the signing of Francesco Conceição from Benfica, they are looking now to actually sell a few more players, Timothy Weah being one of them, before they actually purchase Jadon Sancho. It doesn't look like this was ever moving, and now we're getting a bit of backtracking from the Italian sources after someone reliable like Ornstein comes out and says this is nowhere near done. What is everybody talking about, and where did this deal come from? Could Juve be looking at Rasmus HOJLUND instead of Jadon Sancho? That's something that we could be possibly looking at here. Is it more realistic that they're looking for a partner for Jonathan David, someone to play behind Jonathan David? How much are Juventus willing to pay for a striker? Is it worthwhile buying someone like Rasmus HOJLUND for, say, 32 million quid rather than spending 18 million quid on a Jadon Sancho? There's a lot more potential probably in Rasmus HOJLUND and his position, you could say, and his form in Italy, going off his previous at Atalanta, maybe. I'm trying to think outside the box here as to why they would be interested in him. But there's also reports that AC Milan have entered the race for Rasmus HOJLUND, and we're only going off what everyone has said. There has been no significant update from anyone creditable on Jadon Sancho. Let's just make it clear. Like, everyone is saying United need to make a deal on him and get him out. Yes, but all of the other reports have been completely washed away now. So it's like we're making a go from it from the start again with any report on Jadon Sancho. But Rasmus HOJLUND could be out of the door. And the report from Graham Bailey is that United could actually accept a bid in and around 32 million quid. That's how low they're willing to go to get Rasmus HOJLUND off the books. And with him not getting them into them incentives and performance-related add-ons, obviously, because he hasn't really done anything performance-wise at all or met any targets, I'm guessing. So there's nothing for Manchester United obligation-wise to pay out on that. So we're in and around 64 mil. It's half of that. It's 32. But then what do Manchester United do when he's sold? Now, we're talking about Benjamin Sesko. The Athletic have come out and said at the moment, currently, he isn't a target for Manchester United now because of the price and what his wage demands are. Now, I did go into detail on Benjamin Sesko's contract. He has still got a big contract. There is apparently a release clause in that contract around 70 to 80 million euros, which is substantial for Manchester United on its own. But then you have the wages on top of that. Could we actually afford the wages at the moment? And the current deal, after Manchester United contacted Leipzig to find out the conditions, is a no. But that is currently. And like Ornstein said and Romano said, they're waiting to see what develops, and they're taking their time with the actual striker targets. Who is the best option? If Leipzig are showing no sign of dropping, then Sesko won't happen. What about somebody else outside the box? Nicholas Jackson, no, that's been played down by Ben Jacobs. Could we be going for Ollie Watkins? Too old, and Villa wants 60 million. Too much again for United. Could United go for a 25-year-old Brazilian centre-forward, Evanilson from Bournemouth? Now that has hit the speculation columns. Reporter Ekrem Kono has been talking about this and has been talking via Court Offside regarding this transfer and the potential of it, in that Manchester United see Evanilson as a potential Premier League proven striker that they could bring in. Again, it's all on that Prem proven side of things for Manchester United. Now, this is just another report. He isn't saying that Manchester United are in, or this is a definite, but he is seen as a player that Manchester United might be interested in, and is also on the list of strikers. Like Romano said, the list is long. There are plenty of options there, and Ornstein even said this morning when we was on the show talking about this, the potential number of names that are going to be thrown out there now, and we're going to hear about that could possibly be linked. Evanilson, when you look at that deal, he only signed from Porto last season, so last summer. He's played 31 games this season. He broke his foot, I think, broke his ankle or something. I'm trying to remember. I missed about 4 or 5 weeks or something like that worth of games. Didn't play for a while. That's about it injury-wise. So probably explains why he's only played 31 games. Scored 10 goals in them games in the Premier League. Don't get me wrong. I cannot stand here and say that Evanilson is the right man over, let's say, Nicholas Jackson. Jackson's had 2 years in the Premier League. I don't rate him as a player. I like the way Evanilson plays. I think he's a technically better player than Nicholas Jackson. But what will Bournemouth want for him? They paid 31 million with potential going up to 40 million, breaking their club transfer record for him after they sold Solanke. He was the replacement for him. So I don't see them, with him only being on the books for 1 year, letting him go again. Again, it's a transfer fee that Manchester United are going to have to pay a lot. I would say if you are going to get him, he's upwards of 60 million again. And you could easily say, Adam, what are you talking about? Yesterday you were saying that Nicholas Jackson isn't worth that. I just think that's what Bournemouth will charge for him, because they brought him in. He's had an alright first season, very successful season under Iraola. And again, it's going to be a case of, are United willing to pay that amount of money for a striker that, yeah, you could say he's Prem proven, but has only had 1 year. He is, I think, a better player than Jackson. But again, I'm just putting this in caution. This is all on Manchester United moving Rasmus HOJLUND rather than Evanilson being a genuine target. And that's the point of this video. United thinking outside of the box for other targets, and Rasmus realistically looking like a potential outgoing. Again, the talk keeps on coming. Let me know what you think on them rumours. That is your midday update. Sancho off as of now, and obviously Manchester United could potentially sell Rasmus HOJLUND. Evanilson, another name that has come up that United could potentially be interested in. A good player, very good player, but it's going to cost a fair packet. Are United willing to pay that much? He's still got 4 years left on his deal. That would be a nightmare deal for Manchester United when you look at the finances to get over the line. He is on decent wages as well, some 80,000, so that's going to have to go up. That's a lot of money for a player that's had 1 year in the Premier League. Now, again, I'm all for thinking outside the box, but is that a step too far? Comment below. Let me know what you think. Pop a like on this video. Thank you if you have already subscribed. We hit 92,000 this morning, which is epic. Cheers, everybody. Hit that subscribe button again. It's completely free and helps the channel out massively alongside the likes. Cheers, everyone. I'll see you in the live later on.